Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And today I have the absolute pleasure of having the lovely Miss Hanna Vaughn on here with us. You may be familiar with Hanna. She is one of the, I guess, co-hosts, we'll say, of the YFNA channel, which I have a link to below. You can go see her as she does stuff with Ethan on the regular on that channel. So definitely check it out. And you can also follow her on Twitter down below and on Facebook as well. I got those links down there as well. But anyways, Hanna, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And as we discussed earlier, I'm surprised it took me so fucking long to have you on here because this should have been something that happened like forever and a half ago. So.
Oh, well, I'm just happy to be here anyway at any point. So I still kind of have a little bit of like a, what is it? Imposter syndrome, considering I don't have my own channel yet. But we'll see. That can change eventually.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Yeah.
That's something that you can work on in your free time and come up with an idea of what you want to do with that channel and just give her, as we say here in Canada. So I don't know. Right. There's actually a Canadian-made movie called Fubar where they say "give her" a lot in it. So
yeah, I thought you were from the West.
I am.
The U.S. Okay. No, I was like, wait a minute, 604. That's like
British Columbia.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm surprised you actually kind of knew what the 604 was, that it was actually the area code from where I'm from.
I don't know how. That's like one of those random pieces of knowledge that just became useful for this only. Nothing else.
For this one time you're going to be on the show. Well, mind you, it may not be the only time because you, as I always say to the people that I have on the show, you're always welcome to pop in on after parties if you have the time and you're available.
Woo-hoo. Or maybe you know what? You probably mentioned it. That's probably how I know.
Probably, because that's where we met, guys. Was at Faithless Forum back in 2019. So, and I have questions about that sort of thing later on, anyways. But Hanna, basically, what I do here is I talk to people about how they found their way out of whatever previous belief systems they were once a part of. So, what I generally ask is you kind of take us back to the days you were a believer, and on that interesting journey out of it.
Okay, sure. Want me to just go right for it?
Oh, yeah. Just start telling your story, and I may interject from time to time with something stupid to say, so be expecting that.
So interesting about my, I don't know if I ever really went through a deconversion. Like a lot of people who I've met in this community who grew up being a very, very firm believer in something. Right. I was raised secular, but was allowed to explore things on my own and kind of encouraged to by my mom, not so much my dad. So I had a phase where I was like, well, everyone I know is Christian. There's probably something to that because I grew up in a very suburban, affluent, very we had a bunch of mega churches around, and
nice.
it kind of felt like the country club. Basically, if you went to Bayside, you were cool, and we have Jesus dodgeball, and I was like, that sounds like fun.
Jesus dodgeball?
I don't know, things like that. Just
that's a thing.
We're gonna do a scavenger hunt for Jesus, and they always had cool events going on and really big bands, and it felt really amazing. But I would start to go to youth group with a friend of mine. I was like, that sounds cool. But I kind of got into a little bit of trouble. I always felt like I was too weird to be there because I always argued with people.
I all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I grew up being I don't know how or why my mom grew up in Berkeley, the Bay Area, and I was born in Berkeley, California, which is very where the whole hippie movement kind of started. So I was very encouraged to talk about things I believed in and ask questions and kind of just push the envelope a little bit. And we had a lot of nude art around the house. And if I wanted to play with a Ouija board, that wasn't weird, but it freaked my friends out. But my mom was like, it's nothing. It's just a game. So that was my upbringing. And then I kind of started to go to youth group with a friend. And I remember getting into an argument with one of their speakers who was talking about gay marriage, and I didn't like what he had to say. And I remember standing up and being like, oh yeah, but what about this? And then other people my friends started to chime in and be like, yeah, wait a minute. And then I don't know if maybe I wasn't invited back after that. I don't remember. But kind of more when I was like 16, 17. I would never go through those years again. That was probably the most miserable time of my life.
Wow,
And when
really?
you're miserable and you're vulnerable, what do you typically turn towards? So I was like,
Yep.
I just want to feel good about things. So, I was kind of envious of people who kind of boasted about all the comfort they received through Christ and how they were saved and how they were once so broken and now they're so amazing and doing all these great things. And my home life wasn't very good. So I was like, yeah, I want to do that. I believe in Jesus. And I tried for a little bit. And I remember fully being in worship with my hands up, with like the band playing, with their like having that frozen feeling where you're like, wow, this is the most amazing thing I've ever been a part of. But I had already grown up going to concerts, so I kind of recognized that feeling. And I suddenly, like in the middle of worship, I went, I don't believe this.
Like an epiphany.
Yeah, like I just wasn't convinced. Like I just still wasn't convinced. I really tried. I really wanted to. I remember crying over it before. Like I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I remember like trying to encourage people to go with me because I just saw like how happy these people were. And I was just like, it's not for me. So that was it. I mean, so it's kind of, I never was really indoctrinated. So I guess it was easy for me to just kind of dip my toe in and go, yeah, this is bullshit. And then after that, I was briefly part of this group called the Free Thinkers and Non-Believers group in my high school. And we kind of just started it as like a, fuck you. If you can have a Christian group, we can have like our edgy, like Satan group or whatever. And that caused a whole hoopla. People freaked out about that. But I don't know, I still had a lot of Christian friends growing up and friends from other, religious backgrounds. And looking back, I think it's funny that I would just not be, of course, who is the same that they were in high school? Nobody. But we would do, did you ever hear of like Meet Me at the Pole, where they would do like, they would all hold hands and like pray before school. Like, I don't know if it was something to like, let's bring like Jesus back to school or whatever. Every once in a while, a group of students would organize something like that. And I would go stand with my friend in the circle and hold her hand. And now I'm like, I wouldn't have, like, I'd actually probably be kind of irritated that they did that on a public school property. But I still wanted my friends to believe in whatever. I believed in what I believed.
Sure.
So that was that. I kind of had to have an awkward conversation with one of my friends when I was like, hey, remember how I said I accepted Christ into my heart? I don't really feel like I did. And she was like, what? But we're still friends.
Well, that's good. That's good. So
yeah.
she didn't chastise you for not accepting Jesus?
No, I never, other than maybe I've had like a couple people bully me about my beliefs that didn't line up with their Christian beliefs when I was in school. And then my dad and I go at it a lot, but I've never really had a community of people judge me because I was never part of the community to begin with. So, I mean, unless maybe some parents told, hey, don't hang out with that, that Vaughn girl. She's a heathen.
She's trouble.
I'm not aware if that happened. So
she's going to lead you to Satan.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, since I grew up in like a household where like we didn't believe or practice anything, like I was allowed to like practice like they were more just like slumber party games that my mom grew up doing, and she taught me how to do quote unquote seances, but they were typically pranks.
Ooh.
And I think some parents got upset when I would do these for my friends at sleepovers. But they I didn't believe that anything was happening. I just was pranking them.
Well, myself, I got into the occult quite a bit when I was probably in my mid-20s to around my late 30s, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, I considered myself a Wiccan and all kinds of shit. But I did multiple Ouija board sessions and stuff like that. And at one point was actually convinced that it was a real thing until, of course, when you actually look deeper into it, you can understand how motor neurons and shit like that work, and how you end up moving this thing even though it doesn't feel like you are. And a little research solved that problem. But I remember doing all that kinds of stuff too, seances and stuff too, but nothing really ever happened, to be honest. Like one time we got lucky guessing the lunch that somebody had through the Ouija board. But like it was like, what do I have for lunch today? The guy goes, because he wasn't kind of a not believer, and I was still deeply in it. And I'm like, hey, let's find out. So everyone started spelling out Big Mac on the fucking thing, and then he dumps out the contents of a McDonald's bag, which was very famous for eating Big Macs all the time. So in our subconscious, it was already planted, and we just spelt it out anyways. And sure enough, so
it's funny that people like be like, I'm going to summon this divine power to figure out what lunch someone had. Like, that's what we're going to use these powers for.
Right. I know.
You'd think that spirits would have better things to do, you know? But what's funny is, so I think since I used to play with Ouija boards and kind of dabble in, like, I read witchcraft books kind of for funsies, but there was always part of me, especially like at a very young age, I wanted it to be true so badly. And since I didn't grow up religious, I was allowed to, you know, bring these books home from the library. Like, my mom would be like, oh, what's that? Witchcraft? All right. Like, whatever. Sure. Like, yeah. So I think what has been harder for me to let go of, I mean, when I since I never really was a believer, I mean, I kind of wanted to be. Maybe at one point I bought it. I never really grieved over like, oh, there's no heaven, I don't get to see my loved ones. Still, that kind of bums me out when I think about it. I'm like, those damn Christians are so lucky, like, to believe in that. Like, that's how comforting. And the fact that people like, when people are like, you know, you don't even want to be Christian. I would love to believe that I get to see my loved ones afterwards.
Absolutely.
You know, like, of course I would if I could, but I don't. But what's been harder for me to let go of is like growing up thinking ghosts were real, and being like, maybe because the Ouija board thing moved a little bit, so there's probably ghosts, and telling ghost stories and totally believing my friends. I still find myself like getting scared of the dark and being like, uh-oh, maybe ghosts. So
I kind of did a little bit after giving the belief up too, but it's like, because, you know, let's face it, we're not scared of the dark, we're scared of what's in the dark.
Yeah.
Right.
We're scared of what you don't know might be there.
That's
I
right.
mean, I think I mostly sorry, go ahead.
All I was gonna say was, it's kind of like saying, well, I'm afraid of heights. No, you're afraid of that sudden stop at the end if you fall.
Yeah, you're afraid of falling down.
Yeah.
Apparently that's like, I don't know, someone told me, and I don't know if this is true, but that's like the only fear you're born with is just falling down, or heights and falling, because that's like, I don't know if that's true.
It may be. And I think you've heard of this concept, and it's actually now a serious hypothesis that they are considering about genetic memory.
Oh, interesting.
Traits of our ancestors follow through genetic lines. So one of the things that they found is that's the case for things like snakes and spiders. Because our ancient ancestors found out that they were venomous and could kill you if not taken care of properly. So an innate fear just became a thing through our history all the way up to us now.
That's incredible. See,
people have a fear of these things.
I saw something like that on TikTok, on like spiritual TikTok, being like, oh, your ancestral trauma. And I was like, there's probably nothing to that. But that sounds like a reasonable explanation for what people might be describing as something.
It's like an inherited trait is what it ends up being like.
Yeah, like my red hair that I inherited from a box.
And don't forget, even evolution would help that be a thing as well, because you, as your line evolves, it picks up traits of your ancestry because of survival reasons as well. And it's a good survival instinct to be afraid of snakes and spiders and even mice and rats, which are another common one.
That makes sense why my 4-year-old students are afraid of like bugs and stuff. Like, why would you be scared of that? Well, how would you know that that's harmful? You know?
Right.
Yeah. No, speaking of like evolution, it's funny because I grew up being taught about evolution by my dad, who was like very into science. He's always the one who helped me with my science homework. However, he's the one who really went head to head with me when it came to religion, which like never really made sense to me. I mean, I guess there's a lot of brilliant people.
Is he a
who still
believer?
practice. Yeah, it's kind of more out of like, I don't know where I'm going with my life and I'm scared of death. I mean, that's my opinion. That's not fair because like it could be other reasons. I'm not entirely close with him, but it's funny because I always just like assumed like everyone believed in evolution because I learned about it at such a young age. And yeah, he's the one who's like, Hannah, you can be atheist, but don't be too atheist. I'm like, how can I be too not believe in God? I super duper duper don't believe in God. So yeah.
We've got a special guest in the comment section today. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Otangelo.
I'm not.
He likes to pop in from time to time. He's a believer, and he's making a claim right now that in a study of genetics that they found genetics there's no genetic evidence for evolution, when it's actually the exact opposite. As a matter of fact, Otangelo, if we didn't even have fossils, we'd still know that evolution was true because of genetics. We wouldn't need a single fossil to know that.
It's so hard for me to, I need to get better at debating because growing up with the kind of secular mindset I'm kind of just now understanding now that I'm kind of getting more into the community and since meeting Thomas and meeting all of his friends who are now mine, like realizing, like I just assumed everyone kind of knew this stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't mean to be like rude or anything. I'm just like, I don't know how to like argue it because I'm just like, yeah, like that's just, I don't know. Like,
don't worry about it. There's plenty of people out there that could do that anyways, that handle all these guys and do the debate. I'm not much of a debater either.
Yeah. So. I'm like, that's what Talk Heathens for. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's definitely that's not why we do the pickup line, which is funny because people will randomly pop in and be like, you don't believe in God? And I'm like, I'm talking about dildos right now.
which has the what's the word I'm looking for? The ability to make someone scream, "Oh God!" But it's about as close as it gets.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about as close to religious as. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not my forte.
Right. So, how did you and Thomas end up meeting?
We met because I was a fan of his channel, and. Like I was seeing somebody else at the time. I like, of course, he's objectively handsome, but it was more just like I really admired his work. Definitely, I will argue this till the day I die. I was not a fangirl, but I really liked his work. I was a fan of his work, and I was subscribed for a while. I think since he was living in Thailand. And then I became single, and then I was kind of sort of seeing some other guy, and it wasn't working out. And I was like, I was drinking with my girls one night, and I was like, and actually, I think Thomas had interacted with me on Twitter like a couple times, just like replied to an article, and he'd like the tweet. So I was like, okay, he like interacts on Twitter, and he kind of just grew on me as I like consumed his content and like interacted with him on Twitter. So I was drinking with my girls one night and I was like, I don't really like the guy I'm seeing. I mean, we're not exclusive, but I'm just gonna, he hates it when I do this voice, by the way, but this is like my drunk Valley girl voice, which is what happens when I drink. So you'll see in the after party. It's like, I'm just gonna send him a message and see what happens. And they're like, do it. And I did. And he responded. And I don't know. I guess, what was it? Oh, I just sent him something like, it was about video games. I made a comment about video games. And then he was like, I could beat you at Super Smash Bros. Come to Faithless Forum, because he was like in the middle of promoting that, and I'll beat you. And so I slid into his direct messages and was like, okay, I bought my ticket. And I was kind of just going out on a limb being like, yeah, actually, you know what? I don't need anyone's permission to go. I can just do it. I'll get on a plane. I'll go by myself because I'm genuinely interested in this conference. And I'm a big fan of Cosmic Skeptic and Holy Kool-Aid and Rachel Oates. And I thought at best, I'll get to shake their hand and take a picture with them. And I'll be so happy. Well, it turns out Thomas and I started talking nonstop for like a week straight. We just really, really, really hit it off. And we're just like joking back and forth. And then we added each other on Facebook. And then it went to phone calls and we'd be messaging each other nonstop. And then he said, I love you before he even met me. Just want to say. But like we had been talking on the phone and FaceTiming and Skyping, and he flew out to meet me, and it was like, okay, that's it. Like, you're my person. I mean, we just hit it off so well. And then we were long distance for 1 year, and it would be like 1 month I'd spend a week in Austin, and then 1 month he'd spend a week near Sacramento, which is where I'm from. And then a little bit after we had been dating for a year, COVID started. We didn't see each other for 4 months. That was terrible. And then I had been talking about this for a while with him. We were planning it, and I basically just packed all my stuff in a car and quit my job and drove to Texas. And I've lived here for about a year now. It's going really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'll admit, when I first met you guys, I had thought you'd been together for a long time. You just seem to have that way. You just seem to have that aura about you, I guess.
I don't know what it is. It's just you just find someone that you match so well with, and we already have kind of the same values and common interests, and I adore all of his friends. It's like, I've been wanting a change and a nice, happy place to kind of start anew, and I like it here. I don't know. It's kind of weird because Austin. Yeah, and it has so much to offer, but because I've been here since the middle of COVID, kind of the beginning of it, I haven't really been able to get a full Austin experience. But but yeah, I mean, everyone here is so wonderful. I mean, we spend a lot of time with, I'm not trying to like name drop. I just genuinely adore these people, Jenna Belk, Drew, and Eric Murphy, and Taylor and V. They've like become my family, and I love them so freaking much.
Good family. Good family. I love them all too. They're all awesome people. They've become good friends, right? And this is saying, and I've been at a distance, but still been able to maintain friendships with all these folks, right? So
they're just really genuine, wonderful people. And this is going to make me kind of sound pretentious, but I don't know how else to say it. I grew up kind of feeling a little bit like an outcast. So
me too. Don't worry.
Yeah. So how do I say this? I was told that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I don't mean that like, oh, I think I was smarter than everyone back home. There's definitely people who are brilliant that I still keep in touch with. But it's just, now that I'm surrounded by these people, I feel so much more challenged. Like, our conversations, just like listening to Eric and V prep for Talk Heathen, and then the random conversations we get into, I'm like, sometimes I feel like I just need to sit back because all of them do it for a living.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just watching the conversation going, I'm like, wow. They're just brilliant. They're brilliant, and I have a lot to learn from them, and it's been great.
I got to do Talk Heathen once, and that was a lot of fun. But was
that when you were here for Faithless Forum?
No, I did it afterwards. It was last year, and I got to do it with V. And I still want to go back on and do an episode with Eric too. So, and right. I mean, shouldn't be an issue because I'm officially a member. So there
we go. Yeah,
I've got a coaster, people.
Exactly. That's your golden ticket. That's your backstage pass.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, that and I'm not sure if Faithless Forum is going to go this year.
I don't believe it is. I don't
I think
know
they're going to wait till
how
next year.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say because I don't know what's been officially like said,
Save it.
but I
It's
don't
good.
think so. I don't
I
think it's the
don't
best
either.
idea. Yeah.
No, we still should give it a little bit more time. I mean, let's face it, the pandemic's still a very real thing, and the new variant is extremely transmissible. So,
What?
yeah, there's a new variant that is highly. That's why.
Great.
Here's a new little tidbit of information for you guys out there. Now, I know you guys down there have had a lot of deaths and a lot of cases. Canada is now on the verge of surpassing you per capita.
Wow. That
Yeah.
blows.
Yeah. Now, I haven't got it yet, and I'd say knock on wood, but I don't believe in superstition. But it's because I've been following the rules, wearing the masks, washing my hands as much as possible. Use sanitizer when you have to, but I recommend washing your hands over using sanitizer because there's new studies out now showing that the overuse of sanitizer is starting to break down people's immune systems, and that's not good either. So, right, just wash your hands as much as you can. And use sanitizer in situations where you can't do that. Yeah.
I had COVID, and so I definitely believe it's true. It's a real thing that happened to me. I had it in January, and I work at a preschool, so it was kind of inevitable because those little buggers they just carry it, They don't wash their hands as much as we try to get them to. They're not always the best at it. So I got COVID. I'm fine now. It's been a couple months, and I just had my first dose of Moderna and had not a fun reaction to it. It felt like I had COVID all over again, but just for one night, I took a bunch of Tylenol and fell asleep, woke up completely fine.
Nice.
So there's that. But we'll see how my second dose goes.
Well, yeah. Well, the second dose, will give you the full, I'm not going to say immunity because you can still get COVID, but you won't have the symptoms.
And it's not going to be fatal anymore.
No, it won't be fatal.
Yeah.
But definitely you should, even though you've got a vaccine now, and we're working on doing better with the vaccines up here in Canada too, by the way, still wear a mask because you could have it and not have symptoms and pass it on to somebody. Actually, you could, because you can catch COVID more than once. So just keep that in mind.
Right. Yeah, the whole herd immunity thing's not a thing.
Not so much with the COVID, but
yeah. So I still plan on wearing a mask even when I'm vaccinated. What I'm looking forward to is my group, my people, my family here. When we're all vaccinated, we won't have to super duper quarantine anytime. We're like, hey, I went out of town for this reason. It won't be as big of a deal. But out in my daily life, you know who isn't vaccinated. And I convinced my mom to get vaccinated. So she called me today and she was like, I'm getting vaccinated. And I was like, Mom, you're doing the right thing. She was just scared because she, it's so new. And she was like, I don't know, if there's going to be long-term effects down the road. I'm like, no, Mom, it's just introducing a little bit to you so your body can fight it off. It's okay.
Exactly.
They're not.
There's your long-term effects.
That is the long-term effect. Is that you won't die from COVID.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. So people, if you're in a room full of people that have been vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask because even if you pass this COVID around, nobody's going to get sick or die from it because you're vaccinated against it. But if you know that there are going to be people that could be harmed by this, and a lot have been, then wear masks, definitely. Yes. And let's face it, viruses are more likely transmitted through touch than anything else. Because we go around and we touch everything, and you never know what kind of bug's sitting on stuff. So that's the most common way that bugs like that are passed around is through touch.
Okay, that we have brain bug in the chat. Don't use bug as a derogatory term, please.
I'm so sorry, Brian. I really should think before I speak. My apologies, my friend.
Oh man. No, I love it. I'm seeing a lot of friendly faces in the chat, so this feels good. Yeah, no, that's the fun thing about YFNA is, or just being part of a channel is starting to see, what do you call them? Return viewers?
Mhm.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I've got a fairly large set of folks that like to hang out and watch the show, and most of them are here tonight.
Wonderful. Yeah, no, I'm so happy to be here, and nice to meet you, everyone. Yeah. But no, what I do on Thursdays, yeah, since I mentioned I don't have my own channel, I do something called the Pickup Line with Ethan over on his channel, which is YFN Atheist. And since debating is not really my thing, he was looking for something that kind of takes a break from his regular atheist content, because he's got like the perspective and Ask an Atheist, and which kind of deal with more just having callers and debates, and trying to get people call in and try to convince him that they're psychics, and that's pretty fun. But while Ethan and I are both atheists, it's not strictly or exclusively atheist show. Yeah. I mean, we kind of talk about it here and there, but that's not what we focus on. It's just sex, love, relationships, things that most people can relate to in some capacity. So yeah, it's just kind of a candid conversation. We're not professionals, but we do have quite a bit of experience, and we try to do our research and make it at least a little bit. We don't want to lead people astray, so it can be educational, but it's mostly we can just do it for entertainment.
Yeah, for sure. And it is entertaining. I've seen quite a few episodes. So
thank you. Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
my favorite part of the week for sure. Yeah.
You guys do a great job with that show. So if you guys haven't seen the show, go down below and click on the link. It'll take you over to the YFNA channel and hit the sub button, and you'll be notified when they go live with that show.
Every Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Time. We have a lot of fun over there. So
that's
Ethan's
7 for you West Coasters.
Yes,
and 11
7
for you East Coasters.
Yes, the time I used to be on. Yeah, no, that's another thing I'm looking forward to when everybody's vaccinated. Ethan's supposed to come to Austin, so we'll be doing. I'm probably here an episode of the Pickup Line, and I have never met him, so that's another person where I just hit it off right away with him. Maybe it is something about me. Maybe I'm just awesome. I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that. Well, Faithless Forum hopefully next year.
Yeah, and hopefully they stick with the lineup that they had for the speakers and presenters or whatever for the show, because I was one of them and I still want to do it. Yes. And I think I think I would love to do a live kind of maybe shorter version, but a deconversion story live at Faithless Forum, which might be a lot of fun. And Thomas and Drew already said that would be cool. And it was originally going to be Matt Dillahunty, but I finally got him to come on here anyways, because we weren't sure if Faithless Forum was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So we decided to come on, and we didn't actually talk about his deconversion. We talked about atheist community and how we could better it and be more, just be better in general. And then we talked a little bit about music and all kinds of stuff. So it was a fun conversation regardless.
I know. That's kind of like how I was. That's kind of how I was feeling coming on here when I'm like, oh, he wants me to do deconversion stories, but I didn't really deconvert. I was always I was taught to be.
You almost got into it.
I did. I almost got into it. I mean, I learned about. I try to learn about everything, and there's elements to everything I've looked into that are appealing, but I just am not convinced. So
yep, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, so that's the only explanation I have. It's just, I'm not convinced. A lot of things are very appealing, sound very nice, but no, just not convinced. Not for me. Sorry.
Me either.
Yeah.
Many have tried, and I've even had experiences in my life. Mostly, I think, when I was into the paganism stuff and the occult and stuff like that, I had experiences that at the time seemingly convinced me, but when you think about it on a little bit of a deeper level, it's not very convincing.
Yeah,
because you just make connections where there really aren't any. It's more of a coincidental thing than it is an actual connection.
The hardest thing, I mentioned spiritualism and like just the supernatural has been hard for me to let go of. I've had some experiences with psychics. So that's very interesting because that's been hard for me to let go of. And now I'm dating someone who, as a living, does psychic takedowns.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't. It's so hard for me to say, because I know that there's people that I've met that are very dear to me that I know are genuine people and not charlatans, but I
Sure.
also
Me too.
know how the brain works and how we make
Mhm.
connections that may not necessarily be there. So it's like very awkward for me. And I made a new friend recently who, she says, I talk to demons, I've had all these experiences, and I'm like, that's great. I'm not here to be like, no, you haven't. But I haven't introduced her to Thomas yet, because I'm like, when you meet her, please play nice.
This is good. Maybe my bandana can be the atheist version of religious funny hats.
There we go. We all need to wear black bandanas.
Yeah, I've got dozens of them, so
I like
could
it. This one
share.
in particular, the way you're wearing it kind of makes it look like you have cat ears.
Yeah,
think
I always
was
looked at it as
intentional.
like a hawk beak.
Okay, that's way like doper than what I was thinking. I was like, oh, you're like a cat.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
But I always like to wear them like this because I was a big fan of the old VWs, the old Hawknose VW buses.
Oh man, I've always wanted a VW bus. That would be so cool. And just like travel the world in it.
Uh-oh, he's been spying on us.
I know. He needs to get in here.
Says he's
just
like
heard-
Santa Claus now. Where's my presents, Thomas? Oh, right. Right. I've been bad all year. Right. That's right.
Yeah, no. So the psychic thing is hard for me to let go of, because I think actually I have always been more convinced of ghosts than like angels in heaven. For some reason, that just made more sense to me, because people always had ghost stories, and I thought I've seen ghosts, and I had psychics tell me things that no one should have been able to know. And then looking back, I'm like, oh, I probably was giving them hints without knowing it. Now that I'm very aware, thanks, Thomas, for ruining all the fun for me. But but I'm also my eyes have been opened to the harm it can cause. So
Yes,
that's kind of
course.
where I'm kind of like, okay, I need to stop.
To answer a quick question in the chat here, actually, JR Neil 604 Atheist bandanas are in the works for my merch store.
That's perfect.
So they'll look similar to this, but they'll have the 604 Atheist up here.
Yeah, Ethan and I need to start working on merch. I don't know what we would do. Be like,
well, my producer would be able to tell you the progress we're making on the designs and stuff, but he's not here because he's at home not feeling well.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, poor
Better
Mikey.
not be COVID.
No, it's not. It's not COVID related. I think it's more of a I ate something funny, and now I'm not feeling well kind of thing.
Yeah, happens to me all the time. I ate too much spicy food.
I mean, I got the poor guy into eating edibles, so.
Nice.
So, now he eats gummy bears like I do all the time.
That's been the hardest thing about moving to Texas, I think. The fact that weed is not legal. It is decriminalized in my county, so that's cool. But the fact that you cannot buy alcohol after 9, well, you can buy like beer, but you can't. Liquor stores are closed after 9 p.m. and you cannot buy liquor ever at a grocery store, and you cannot buy anything from a liquor store on a Sunday. That doesn't make any sense to me, because in California, that's not a thing. Is that the norm for you? I don't.
Well, you can't buy alcohol in grocery stores here in Canada anywhere, as far as I know.
They don't even in California.
Yeah. No, I know. You can in Seattle too. You can buy it in gas stations too. They don't sell it in gas stations here either.
Yeah, not in Texas. And I'm like, why Sunday? I'm not religious. Well, I can get drunk on the Lord's Day.
I bought beer at a gas station in Dallas.
You can get beer at a gas station, but you can't get booze. You can't get liquor, and then you can't get liquor anywhere other than a bar on a Sunday. And I don't understand what the point of that is.
Lord's Day, Hanna,
because it's the Lord's Day. Okay, well, I'm not religious, so stop it. This is America. Like Texans, you want to like fight for freedom so badly. Let me get super drunk on a Sunday.
Yeah. What else are we gonna do? We're not in church, so fuck.
Yeah, exactly. No, because I have to get up early on Mondays, so no, I don't. So
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just sad they don't let me drink at work.
So you have to work from home. Then you'll get
Working
nothing
in a
done.
lab, it may not be a good idea to be drinking on the job.
Well, see, I work with preschoolers, so I probably shouldn't be drinking either. Which I don't, but I said that like, oh, I shouldn't be drinking, but I do. But no. And then the other thing that's weird about Texas is, so like I said, I drove here 27 hours. I've done it twice now. I went home and visited at one point and drove back. So I've done it twice. I always know when I'm getting close because of all of the billboards that are like, "You're gonna burn." I'm like, okay, thanks for reminding me. Like, cool.
That little thing you saw pop up there, by the way, is the hashtag coins.
What
It's
is it?
I have the Mario coin sound effect on my phone every time I get notifications. So it's become a drinking game on the show because my phone goes off a lot. And so every time, so we've done this, which is also going to be in the merch store. You'll be able to buy beer cozies that say hashtag coins on it.
I love that.
So when you do that, everyone's supposed to take a drink.
Yeah. Oh, well, I have water. I was gonna save
You can
the rest
you
for
can, you can do water.
the rest for their after party. I didn't want to get too sleepy during the show.
No, it's okay. I can fill in the dead airspace.
No, I was gonna
I'm a hot air balloon.
I know. I was just thinking, why don't you just turn your phone on silent? But now it's a thing, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's Mario, so that's perfect.
Exactly. It's the Mario coin thing.
Mine's a Zelda noise.
Is it? Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still Nintendo.
It's still Nintendo. I'm a big Nintendo person. I don't like Xbox. PlayStation's okay. I play one PC game, but Nintendo is my thing.
Nintendo's the best because it has Mario Kart. Which, by the way, I don't know if you remember when we were at Matt's place and I was playing Drew versus Mario Kart.
I didn't go to Matt's place. I left before then. Yeah, I think I left like the day everyone was going to go, and I was really bummed. I was like, we're going to Matt's, and I'm like, Matt Dillahunty. Well, I got to meet, but yeah, I didn't get a party with you guys that much. As much as I would have liked to. I wish I would have stayed much longer. And it's just been way too long since I've seen the Brits and you and all the peeps, you know.
Oh, I stay in touch with Steven and Rachel.
Good.
Not so much. People. Alex is a busy guy, so it's kind of hard to nail him down. So,
who actually I was the reason I became a fan of Thomas is because I was a fan of Alex Cosmic Skeptic.
He's so good.
Yeah, I just was like, this kid is insane. He's brilliant. And then they did a collaboration, Thomas and Alex, and I remember was like, oh, this is really cool too. And I started to find the like atheist YouTube community, and so at Faithless Forum, I'm like, oh my God, it's Alex O'Connor.
I know, like, I was the same way. It's like,
I know. So I was telling Thomas, I was like, don't be weirded out, but like, should I say hi? And he's like, yeah. He's just a dude.
Totally approachable.
Like, yeah. Oh yeah. And then I walked up and I was like, hi. So I'm a really big fan. I'm Thomas Westbrook's girlfriend. And he's like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And then we like went out for vegan burgers.
Awesome.
Yeah. My dreams came true. And I got more than just to like shake hands with people I admire. I'm like, they're like my friends now, kind of.
That's kind of the way I felt too. And then since being there and just solidifying that friendship, even long distance, it's apparent that we've all become pretty good friends. And Thomas almost made me cry one time because of something that he said. No,
he makes me cry too. He's so mean. No, I'm kidding.
Ogre.
Yeah. Okay, what did he say to you?
Well, when I told him, the first time he said, him and Drew both said that, they've been noticing my hard work at trying to get this show going and stuff like that. Which I was like, oh, wow, you guys have noticed me? Like, what the fuck kind of thing, right? But that kind of guy kind of made my heart beat a little extra. And then, and then when he told me, because I think I approached him saying, I'd love to be on the panel one of these days. And he says, yeah, we're way ahead of you. Drew and I were talking about it, and we already want you to be a part of the Faithless Forum. And I was like, tears. I was fighting them back. I was like, really? Kind of thing, right? So yeah.
You deserve it, homie.
Well, I do. I put a lot of time and money into this.
You
so,
do. Mm-hmm.
Because 3 days, when I tell people I do a show 3 days a week, they're like, what? You do? I'm like,
yeah, that's a lot of work. Yeah. No, I'm
but I
starting to
love
see
doing it.
Yeah, that's the important thing. I'm starting to see how much goes into this, behind the scenes, making friends with everyone who does things like this. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Even just doing it like once a week for me, like I'm glad I do it. Every time I come off the pickup line, I feel so much better. I feel so good. But beforehand, I get home from work. I have like an hour or two to get ready. And I'm like, and then I do it and I'm like, all right, cool. But I can't imagine doing it like more than once a week. Hats off to y'all.
Doesn't end there because I now do nonprofits, not every time, but every other time for sure. Yeah. And I'm starting a call-in show with my friend Randolph too. So
nice.
I'm gonna be one busy motherfucker. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, good. We need more of you.
Keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah. I do have to say, going back to Faithless Forum, I had a moment because I kind of recognize what it feels like to get swept up in emotion. And yeah, Faithless Forum, I've recognized from a young age what it feels like to kind of get swept up in emotion and just kind of accept things without thinking them through. I knew people who have been in cults, and
me too.
My uncle was almost shot at Jonestown. That's a whole nother thing.
What? You kidding?
Yeah,
really?
He was supposed he was supposed to be a reporter. He was going to go cover Jonestown the day that they killed everybody, including all the reporters. And he got sick that day.
I remember that day, by the way.
Yeah, because we're from the Bay Area, so that's like the birth of where Jonestown was from before it went off and did its own thing. But yeah, he was supposed to cover it that day. So I'm like, I really, really have always understood, like, you need to be careful before jumping into things that, jumping into communities and stuff, which anyway. So I was at Faithless Forum, and it was while Eric was talking. He said, I don't know if you remember this, like, stand up if you used to pray all the time, if you had a relationship with God or whatever, and then you lost that.
Oh, yes, I remember him doing
if
this.
you've lost a community, and he goes, we're your family now. Yeah. And I like had that same like butterfly, like prison feeling. And for a split second, I had to go, whoa. Am I joining a cult? Check yourself. This feels really comforting. All these like-minded people, like, are they trying to control me? Am I being brainwashed? And I was like, okay, no, we're fine. I thought this through, or we're good. Like, I really did think this through.
Yeah, we're definitely we're not a cult because we don't fall under the bite model.
No, and
there's no behavior control. There's no information control. There's no thought control, and there's no emotional control. Well, maybe a little emotional, but
we're getting a little emotional. We're arguing with each other all the time. It's welcome.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we're allowed to disagree. I mean, at Faithless Forum, I'm pretty sure I wasn't on the panel. I wasn't on the board, but they I say we because I feel like I'm Thomas by proxy, but they had a debate between Rationality Rules and Cosmic Skeptic, like as part of the panel. Right. Like we encourage people to think for themselves and to question what they're being told and what they believe. So it's like, how could we possibly control people like that? The reason we're here is because we couldn't be controlled. We're out of freaking control.
That's it. It's all over, folks. We're out of control. It's all
we're just out of control. Yeah, exactly.
And according to Otangelo, because we push non-belief in deities, we're evil.
Okay.
We're evil. It's
so weird. I started to make like a couple like TikToks about like, I don't believe in God, and people
have a TikTok.
I do, but like it's not interesting. I mostly have TikTok just so I can like watch people doing silly shit.
Me too.
Yeah, people are so like, anytime I'm in a bad mood, like that shit makes me belly laugh. I thought I was too old. I thought I was too old for TikTok. I'm like, oh, these dumb kids are gonna be like doing dances. No, it's freaking hilarious.
A lot of it is hilarious.
Yes. So I made a TikTok. I started to get hate comments. I got a death threat. I got my first death threat on TikTok.
All right, you've made it.
Yeah. So, but people are like, "You're such a terrible person," and it's like, dude, I teach preschool. Like, I don't kill people. I don't eat babies. I go to the grocery store. I'm just a
Not
normal
anymore.
person. I'm just not convinced there's a God.
Yep, that's the only difference.
Literally it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a
Well,
daughter.
we don't
I'm
hate on minorities or members of the LGBTQIA plus community either.
No, and I'm
Okay.
queer, so that would not make any sense.
Right.
So, like, yeah, if anything, this has been like the most, I don't know, out of all the groups I didn't really belong to any groups, so I can't even say out of all the groups I belong to, like, no. So,
So an atheist receiving their first death threat is a mood for sure.
yeah.
And hey,
did he say
Deadpool, I
to
didn't even
me?
notice you snuck in here.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
think they deleted it, but
of course, when I mentioned Randolph, and seconds later he pops into the chat, So
his ears were burning.
He's saying hello to Best Name, which Kirsten, which hi Kirsten. But yeah, as soon as I mention him, it seems to always happen that way. There must be a psychic connection.
Exactly. The proof right there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and I also
Really coincidental.
I have a hard time with coincidences. I have to like remind myself that like that has no significance.
Right.
Yeah. So, even though I grew up secular, like I still have my things that I'm like,
sure.
I probably need to reevaluate that. I'm not perfect.
He says it was preemptive or preventive. Yes, to keep your ears from burning. So
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, nobody wants burnt ears. I've had burnt ears. It's terrible. Like sunburned.
Oh.
I didn't like take a Zippo and go, hey, I wonder if this hurts.
You didn't cut your ear off. You didn't pull a Van Gogh.
Yeah. No.
Never had burnt ears. My hair's too long.
Thomas says he's lost count of his death threats.
I know. I had to ask him before I got serious with him. I was like, hey, am I in danger? He's like,
should I buy a bulletproof vest?
Yeah. No, it's been scary. When he wanted to go to the Make America Straight Again conference, I was genuinely so afraid.
Yeah.
It ended up being a success, not a big deal. Terrible that it exists in the first place. Yeah. And I'm proud of him for going. But I was really scared, especially going to Florida and to a place where
I was nervous for him too when he mentioned that he was going to do that. I'm like, please don't get hurt. Yeah. And if I swear, man, if there's any trouble going on and you're afraid for your life, fucking phone me and I will drive down there and kick some ass.
Where you live to Florida, you might be a little late. So
a few days. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, hold on. Don't stab me yet. Someone's on the way.
Yeah. Hang on. Someone's coming down here to kick your ass. So please just give me 4 days.
Yeah. And then I think he wanted to go to I don't know if it was like anti-mask or Trump rally or something. And I was like, we're in a pandemic. Don't do that. And he's like, you're right. So yeah, no, it's, I'm proud of him, but it's a little scary sometimes, but it's not like we've ever had anyone freak out on us or anything.
He says, yes, that's a good Whoop, that's not the one I want.
Oh yeah. Good clarification. Yeah. He wasn't going to I was scared that he was going to Make America Straight Again because I was going to break up with him. No, he was going to protest it. Yeah, for anyone who isn't aware. But yeah, he showed up in a pumpkin suit and twerked. So.
No, actually, Theo, you're right. I have not received any death threats yet.
That you know of.
Well, that's true. There might be some anti-Neil fan groups in there that they're calling for my death.
Yeah.
But I'm not too concerned about that. But anyway. We're almost up at the top of the hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. It goes by so fast.
Wow. I know it. Yeah. The pickup line's only an hour. And I'm like, we need to extend that. It's like, I have too much fun. No, I need to start doing pluggy things. Right. That's what.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'd love you to do that. First of all, before you start plugging stuff, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Ethan.
Oh yes. I would love to. So I think one of us added each other on Facebook. We have mutual friends. And I started seeing his
kind
stuff.
Of a stalker, so it's probably him.
Yeah, I'm sure he's just like, this person's a mutual friend, this person's atheist, blah blah blah. Because he's been really, this guy is just like blown up and has just become so like involved, and it's so cool. Like I was like, one day, who is this guy? And now he's everywhere. Like I can't escape. No. He posted something on Facebook saying, hey, I want to do a podcast, kind of different from what I normally do, than my regular atheist comment, but just about like sex, love, dating, relationships. Does anyone want to do it? And I asked Thomas, I think first, like, hey, do you know anything about this guy? And I think he was like, talk to Jenna and talk to V, because I think they know him a little bit better. And they both were like, oh my gosh, you will get along with him so well. You guys are so like, you guys are just you're going to love him. You guys are going to click. And they were right. I mean, they adore Ethan and we clicked right away. Like, I don't know how it's just, he's awesome. He's just awesome. Yeah. And yeah, so we've been doing it since November. I had like my audition live stream with him, and he was like, I wanted to ask you live, but I didn't want to put you on the spot, but do you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, I do, because I've never done anything like this before. I do performing at like community theaters pre-COVID, but I've never been myself in front of a camera
honestly
until now. So
if I didn't know you ahead of time, I never would have guessed that. You have this natural presence in front of a camera. So I never would have guessed you'd never done this. I know.
I know. No, I really appreciate that, because I was absolutely petrified the first time I did it. When I first went on Secular Sexuality, I was trying to hold still so bad that my neck started to cramp. I was like,
you need some of these, by the way.
Those are amazing. Yeah.
I got a pair for me and for Randolph.
That's a mood. Yeah.
No. Down theists on our show.
That's wonderful. Yeah, Ethan says he's blushing. Thanks, /face. No, but I feel like this has been I'm so appreciative that he picked me and that we get to do this, because I feel like I think about the first time I did it, and it's only been a couple months, but I'm like, okay, I think I've got the hang of this. I still have lots of places to improve, but
it's always a learning process.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a learning process, and I get a lot of good feedback from the homies, and especially Thomas. He's my biggest critic, but I'm open to it.
I'm your biggest fan too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll be like, was this okay? Jenna! He doesn't like. I think one time I burped on a live stream because I
do it all the time.
Yeah, and he was, Hannah, that was so unprofessional. I'm like, have you watched my show? Have you watched the pickup line? Like, I don't know. Maybe Ethan hated it. I don't know. But I'm just like, I get to just be me on that show. I'm not trying to.
You've got fans.
I hope so. Well, I don't know. That feels weird. But no, and we've gotten some great callers. People have made me cry before, and I'm like, it's one in like a good way. But I have had people call in before we had a screener to shout profanities, and that wasn't cool. So we do have a screener now, and that gives me a lot of peace of mind. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you can shout as many profanities as you want on my show. I could care less.
Yeah.
it's, in my opinion, it's part of human nature. So.
Yeah, there we go. I like that.
We curse. We swear. We do all kinds of shit.
We exclaim. It feels good.
Yes, exclaim. That's a good way to put it. And I do a lot of that when I do something stupid like stub my toe.
Yeah.
You'll hear all kinds of words you probably never heard before come flying out of my mouth.
I'll make things up. Yeah, but if you guys want to find the pickup line, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just totally cut you off. I just I know that we're getting down to the hour, so I'm just
I'll go over if need be. It doesn't matter.
Oh, thank you.
But I don't know if you're familiar with the Christmas movie A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
When the dad start. Yeah, that's me.
That's
totally
that's
me.
Perfect.
Fargity, Hergen, Flugen, I can see the
Bargain. Yeah. Oh, fudge.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah, but that's not what I said.
But that's not the word I used.
My other favorite part of that is when he gets so disappointed by the decoder ring with the
drink more Ovaltine.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, they made a part 2, but it was horrible. It was terrible.
Part 2s, yeah, like sequels are just typically hit or miss, especially when you just have such a classic standalone
Empire
movie.
Strikes Back?
Or like Terminator 2 is my favorite sequel, probably.
Deadpool 2?
Did I see Deadpool 2?
Oh, it's funny.
No, I did, and it was great. I like Deadpool. I thought I would hate it, but I liked it.
Yes, Thomas. We'll talk about it in the after party. I tell you what, let's do that. Let's get into an after party because all the stuff we're really talking about now we can do in the after party.
Yeah, you guys know about me now. I was never really a believer. I tried it, so when you tell me I didn't try, fuck off.
All right, so Dadpool's had a few already. Try to like that smash button.
Yes. All right. Well, all my links are in the thing. So
they are.
I really
below.
appreciate this. It's good to talk to you again, and I hope that we get to see each other face to face, not too far out in the future. And I'll see you guys in the after party.
Yeah, guys. Don't forget, guys. You can check out the after party because there is a nice link right below that you can click on. It'll take you right over there. We're going to have about a 15 to 20 minute break before we get going on the after party, as you guys already know. So give us a little bit. Go grab yourself a hunk of cheese and some beer or something, something, posh and classy. But or you can just go and take a leak like I'm going to do and have a quick samosa or something and grab another couple of beers or whatever.
Nice.
And then we'll get into the after party. Expect it to be a lot of fun. If anyone would like to get involved in the after party, I'm pretty sure it's going to be full. I've already got a list of people that want to be in the show. But you can send me a message. And if there's room, I'll pop you in. But I might have to rotate people in and out, okay? So just keep that in mind. And I want to thank all my amazing patrons. Oh, yeah, hang on. My producer's in here, so I have to do all the hard work now. There we go. I want to thank all my amazing patrons. You guys are the reason the show keeps going. You keep me motivated and you keep me interested in doing this stuff. Don't forget that Randolph and I very soon will be starting our own call-in show called True North Talk. So you can head over to our YouTube channel and give it a sub so you won't miss the launch. And also you can find it on www.truenorth.com or truenorthtalk.ca, pardon me. Yeah, the CA, because, we're Canadian and we like to emphasize that thing.
Because you're Canadian.
Because we're Canadians, eh? And don't forget that I am one of the hosts, along with many other talented people that are on the new revamped and relaunched Nonprofits that air Sunday at 3 p.m. between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience. So head over to that channel if you haven't already and sub to it because we have a lot of fun on there. And I'm up on this one coming up. I took a bit of a hiatus, so you guys know, because my mom was in the ICU. And she was kind of touch and go for a while, so we were worried, but she is on the mend, although they are now testing her for the possibility of tuberculosis.
Oh my.
But they're pretty sure it's most likely pneumonia because that's the most common thing to come from hospital stays where you've been intubated. So they're hoping that's what I'm not hoping. I mean, it's horrible to have pneumonia too, obviously, but yeah, so I was kind of, I was focusing on that more than anything else. I even took a lot of time off work and stuff too. So anyways, guys, thank you all for hanging out with us. And don't forget, the last Saturday of every month at 2 p.m. Pacific time, I do a little show called Atheist Drinking Out Loud with my good friend Andy and Seamus. You know Andy from Laughing in Disbelief and Seamus from the Free Thought Prophet show. So if you're not subbed to either of those channels, go and do that as well. And you won't miss it when Andy and I get together with Seamus and a guest. Usually we have a guest, and you never know when I'm going to come knocking on your door to be a guest on the show. But we go for a couple hours and have a lot of fun with some news topics or people that we want to make fun of. And until next time, guys, like I always say at the end of the interviews, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we will see you guys next time.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. See you guys.